So, welcome everyone to the DIY Toycast. Happy New Year. I'm your host, Gordon, here with my co-host, Brett. And we thought we'd kick things off with some recent pickups we got over the holidays. So, Brett, you wanna start?
Yeah, absolutely. I just got in the mail today. I picked up the First Snow Samurai from Toy Pizza, which beautiful figure, incredible. I love the Cray body, and has a hand sculpted and resin cast helm from Cool Cat Toy Co. Friend of the pod, Grant Saunders. So he crushed it on this release. Really fantastic.
And
Uh,
the head sculpt
the
is by
balaclava head.
Kenneth West.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was one of the production heads that Kenneth had sent over into China through Jesse, which is really cool.
yeah,
So fantastic. Yeah, really cool. I love this kimono. When I was younger, I used to hate vinyl capes and stuff like that, especially that was like on Kenner Star Wars. But as I'm older, I really appreciate them. So this is really fantastic.
yeah. It's
So
interesting seeing them done on like resin bootlegs
mhm.
and other sort of our toy figures has kind of made me reconsider them. And
Yeah.
it it becomes almost charming that they don't like fit like normal clothes, as
Yeah.
opposed to as a kid, you're like, why does
Yeah.
this look like a cheap costume?
Well, and that being said, like this really is well done. It's
Yeah,
got the
no,
it's got the cut in the back, so you can actually get some articulation, and it does have like an actual sleeve system. It's not just like the hole punch like Kenner did. I mean,
right.
this is really well engineered for what it is. I'm way into it. And then I also picked up in terms of action figure clothing because I'm a nutcase. The tunic for Craig Drake from Toy Pizza because I love everything Jesse does for soft goods. I think it's so
Yeah.
good. So, some other pickups. I just got in over the weekend the newest Sidewinder from our friend DSN 1014, friend of the pod, Derek.
Yeah, I got
Really,
mine here
really,
too.
yeah. And he's doing the TPU inserts on this. So these
Yeah.
are
This is
Glides compatible.
his first employment of those. And so those are the inserts that you sent him?
Yeah, I printed these for him and sent them his way. So
Okay.
they're working out great so far. It's interesting because I have one of his earlier releases of this figure when he was still boiling the resin to insert them,
Mhm.
and I love the feel of these TPU joints so much more. It feel rigid. It feels a little more premium. Not that it didn't feel good before, but this really has a lot of substance now. So I think he's really hitting it out of the park with this revision. I like this a lot. And then he was also kind enough to send me a full painted
Oh, wow.
Veilgast of my figure. So this is the Veilgast in all black that I did as a material color for him, and then he went through and did full bone shading on the amulet and gloves, and then the armor is all done in this really beautiful metallic silver, and he even painted the pouch and the potion on the
Oh,
back.
damn. That
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah. And the TPU is very glossy by nature, so he went through and did a really nice matte coat on this.
Mhm.
So this is basically just going to be like the paint master for what I hope to achieve for these as a full color release now. And what else do I have? Oh, and then I have the newest Cursed Armor revision you sent me
Yeah,
from over the
sporting
holiday.
that special head
Yeah, the
sculpt.
yeah, courtesy of the Veilgast and our friend Ken West sculpture ability. So I love this frost armor color you came up with. This is really sick.
Yeah, I really like doing so that was like a blue wash over the base white plastic and then dry brushing the silver on top came out
Yeah,
really well.
it's really fun. At first, I thought you printed these in a blue. I had no idea that this was like, and then I took it apart and I was like, oh, holy shit, he painted the whole thing. So
And I
it
think
looks really good.
if you supercharge it with UV, like you still get a little bit of that faint blue glow because it's at the actual glow TPU that I used.
Yeah, yeah, that's super fun. I still need to do that, but that would be a really cool photo effect, I think. I'll have to try that. That's awesome. What about you, Gordon? What have you got lately?
So let's see. So Derek also kindly sent me one of the Sidewinders,
Excellent.
as well as a full paint of one of my barbarian figures.
Oh,
So
hell yeah. The
this
demon
is
in the
mine, and then
yeah.
this is the one that Derek did. So, you know, really premium paint job using, I call this the Demon King head.
Yeah,
Um, and
as you
so
should.
this actually started out, I actually like it. You can see underneath it was red TPU, so this almost works for like a gore effect
Oh,
if
that
you
that yeah, that
disassemble
fucking
it.
rules. That's so sick.
But Derek was sending me these like progressing pictures of gradually adding I think it was like a dark red shade, and then it randomly or it like halfway through shifted to green. He's like, "Well, I guess it's green now."
I love
So
it. That turned out great. It really works for like just generic orc number one, but at like first glance, and then you see the demon head, and it's like, oh, which I think is like really fun for a fantasy setting,
oh,
right?
totally,
Like
yeah.
like some adventurers in the dungeon would be like, oh, it's just another pissant orc, and they're like, oh, that's not an orc. Oh, what is that thing? So really fits
Well,
that the dungeon aesthetic you and I love.
yeah, and that's sort of the particular thing that I like about like well executed dungeon aesthetic. It's taking those archetypes and doing some weird little twist that
Right,
makes it its own thing.
for
Uh,
sure.
you know, Sticking with the dungeon kick, I was lucky enough to run into Glios Build at the Toy Pizza Art Show in
Oh,
December,
nice.
and he handed me one of these little guys. He said he was inspired by some of like the Kid Robot sort of designer toys. And
Yeah,
so,
I'd definitely giving Dunny.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a soft TPU torso, PLA head. I think the eyes are printed separately and glued in.
Yeah. That's
Um,
awesome.
and then it's held together with, I can get his arm here, you know, Glyos style joints. So you could
Yeah.
technically
Build with it.
take one of the barbarian arms and give him might not get clearance. I might have to put it on his back or something, but you can build with them.
Oh yeah.
Let's see
Not
if we can
yeah.
get it. Yep.
He's got like the SpongeBob anchor arm. He's a jerk and everybody loves him.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
So that was fun. And it's super cool because, I feel terrible for not knowing his meat space name, but Glio's build is like a super cool guy, and he's a little bit younger than us. So he
Hmm.
still is just like starting out. He has a friend who I think he said was like in industrial design program.
Oh, okay.
Um, but he's pretty recent out of college, and so you know, I think he's going to be making some seriously cool stuff, going forward. And I very much hope to see him set up at a Toy Pizza Expo this summer.
Yes, which is now scheduled for June 13th
Yeah,
at in Beacon, New York at the Yard. So stay tuned for that, folks.
yeah, that's going to be the big show that Brett and I are sort of planning towards.
Yeah.
Um,
And speaking of planning towards, it looks like you got the pickup from our friend Bobby Torres.
Yeah, so Bobby did an excellent iron-on graphic of the Goblin Toy Forge logo,
Hell yeah.
designed by our friend Naviwood from a very crude sketch that I did on a piece of paper. Yeah, this is
Yeah, that
our
goes hard. It goes so hard.
Brett and ours like joint project. That
Yeah, I'm calling it our independent art innovation idea.
There you go.
That's the working title right off the dome right now.
Yeah. No,
I think company is a little self-serving, so
I view it as just like a silly art project. But yeah, I'm very excited about that. And then, it's a great running gag for us to have now to just make related merchandise. And it very much ties to like all the stuff we're into of, Dungeon Synth, metal, toy making, RPG stuff.
yeah. No, it definitely encompasses all of it. It's very much our aesthetics combined. And it's really a good excuse for me to be a corporate shill and push a bunch of merch. So hopefully we'll have a matching sweatband set, for TPE with just the logo. So that'd be great.
Well, that actually kind of nicely dovetails into what I wanted to spend sort of the meat of this episode talking about, which was like setting up shops and setting up both physically at shows, but then also doing the online piece of the things. So I guess either shall I pull up the Goblin Toy Forge site, or do you got it
Yeah, go
at the
ahead.
ready?
Let it
All right,
rip. It looks like you're already mid-type. I'll let you
all
handle it.
right,
I
Goblin Toy Forge, and you just got the straight URL, right?
mm-hmm.
GoblinToyForge.com.
Yep.
Hit that. All right, pull this up on the main screen. So much credit to Brett for loading in all the assets here.
Yeah, it
Got
goes pretty hard. Look, I want to be honest with everybody. I don't actually know what I'm doing, right? This is just something I do for fun when I'm slacking off at work. And this has really just been like a fun thing for me to mess with. But it turned out so sick. So I'm really, really thankful. If I, an idiot, can do this, so can you.
But, the thing was sort of gradually getting the pieces together to finally put together into the combined thing. So you had the previous experience
Oh
using Big
yeah.
Cartel. You've had your own shop for ages. Walked me through my own aborted attempt, which I think I have here in another. This is, this is the like super vanilla what it looks
hmm
like. I'm not paying for uh, any fancy assets. I think the way that I had my product listing set, it's just you get your base image, the
hmm
name of your item, price, and a short description, but you can't do multiple photos.
Right.
Whereas
Right. So
you've done it enough that it's worth.
yeah, exactly. And so to give a little bit of, I guess we should probably go back to the beginning before we get into the meat and potatoes of how Big Cartel works as it is today. Um, I started off just selling, collectibles, leftover toys, just, stuff out of my collection on eBay,
Right.
probably pre-pandemic,
Okay.
most certainly pre-pandemic. I mean, I had been buying off eBay since college,
Mhm.
so early 2010, 2011 in a high school, and then, I graduated in 11. So into college, I was definitely way more active on eBay because I had a little bit of spending money then, but I just started selling, moving my Star Wars collection and whatnot. And then, so I already had kind of a primer for how to do all of those things.
Mhm.
But getting a job at the lab as I still have now, back when it was just me and my boss before we had grown, there was a lot of every day you have to ship packages, you have to
Mhm.
ship out cases. So I had a lot of experience with packing, shipping, knowing exactly what to do with that. So that was a really great primer for the hobby end of this as it moved into me selling stuff like that. So I knew what to do, what not to do, this, that, and the other thing. But, we'll move into, we'll call it toy making. Uh, I was bootlegging some acid rain parts. Sorry, Kit Lau, but 3D scanning them and resin printing them at work, and I would sell them on eBay. Get pretty nondescript, cheap. Nothing insane, but eBay does take a pretty large fee. So I was like, well, maybe I'll look into some other stuff. I'll look into Etsy. And as I had migrated away from bootlegging and had gotten into doing some of my own design work with different figures, like the Pup Droid or the Venbot, or really any of my stuff when I was still really active into world building on Aegis Station, most of that I was trying to do through Etsy. And at the time, Etsy, at the height of the pandemic, was really, really fantastic in my experience for being
Mhm.
up and coming. It was not inundated with the AI purview it has now. And not to say, disclaimer, I don't think AI is the bane of everyone's existence like a lot of the toy and art community make it out to be. It is a tool that you can use to make your life easier. If you use that tool to be your entire personality, that becomes problematic. But for me, it is a tool to help you promote and get things out there and make the algorithm work in your favor. But when I was active on Etsy, it had not really been fully integrated yet. There was still some usage of it, but the way the shops and everything worked, it felt very the first 60 days feel really good.
Hmm.
And then
I,
after that, they really want you to spend money to promote everything. And if you're selling like six things, it really isn't feasible to spend $20 on advertisements to make eight.
well, that's what sort of killed my big cartel shop is like as soon as I had finished making my like four product listings, of which I have like maybe 7 units, if that, for
Mhm.
each. It's like, well, to, add more than one photo, you got to kick up to the next paid tier,
Right.
to add all these other integrations. And that's how any of these platforms that you pick are
Make
set
make
up.
yeah, and I get it. They have to make money. And that being said, in my experience, outside of doing Instagram claim sales, no shade to that. I've done plenty of under the table, and I will continue to do that. If you want to discount on what's in the store, please feel free to reach out to us at goblintoyforge.com. But I I think that's great. The
Mhm,
honor system's fantastic. Especially if you get people that are willing to pay immediately, and I love to ship same day if I can.
mhm.
It is so efficient, just talking with somebody, communicating, but that is not feasible and it's not scalable.
Right.
So when I got the idea for a big cartel, I was like, I really want my own site. I want to do something that's my own, that I'm not beholden to Etsy. I'm not beholden to eBay. And they have places, that big cartel's international system I haven't messed with. But systems like eBay and Etsy are really fantastic, where if you do have product that is moving internationally, you can just pay the basic shipping postal fee to get it to their hub, and then their international freight will dispatch it. So you don't get hit with all of this outsourcing shipment. You don't have to worry about customs codes, anything like that, in my experience. And that's how I had stuff whenever I was doing a lot of resin drinkware for 1/18 scale figures. I had a buyer that was really active in Japan. So it was really wild to think, what on earth is this guy buying little tiny Jack Daniels or, potions or Galaxy's Edge sodas? Why does this guy in Japan want these? But, it's a really cool thing. But moving back from that, the fees do get out of hand with those. So unless, in my experience, and none of this is financial advice, this is just my history, but unless you're going to do something mass volume, I would stay off of Etsy.
Mhm.
Until you have large volume or you really need an international ease, that would be my advice. But I really like doing stuff myself. I don't like being beholden to anybody. So big cartels seemed like the next natural progression of how it was going to go. So, and a lot of this just came from YouTube University. People smarter than me figured it out, and I
Mhm.
just piggybacked what they did. But I think what you get with the monthly cheap, like I only pay for the lowest sub they have to keep stuff going. But um, you
And
know,
you only pay for the like, do you only have to pay for the months during like when the shop is active? So like
yeah.
if it goes into hibernation mode for a month
Yeah,
or
and
so.
yeah, and you can just shut it off whenever, right? Like,
Mhm.
so if you say like you get five listings for free, and say I have 12 things up right now, it's like a hypothetical number. If I decide, you know what, I'm gonna take some time off, none of this is moving, it'll just freeze all of that, and it's only gonna show the first five. All of those listings still exist, all the work you put in still exist. You just have to pay to re-unlock them.
Mhm.
And it's not a big deal. It's very user friendly. Cool Cat Toy Co. Grant, friend of the pod, he's the one who recommended it to me because it's what he
Okay.
uses, and that's what it seems like a lot of the art toy guys are into. They love Big Cartel.
Yeah, so
So
let's dig back into the actual Toy Forge site here, and maybe you can talk me through like a little bit of like what we're looking at here.
yeah,
So just like on
so
the main page, you have these are the overview of all the products that you have available,
yeah,
right?
and you can customize this. You can have as many pages as you want. You can do, a contact page. You can do an email, a mailing page if you want to get that info out. There's options to
Got
do
the
different.
Instagram.
Oh yeah. You can do different sub themes, but I figured I just wanted a basic layout that would kind of just get us exactly what everyone's looking for, give
Mhm.
us the notice up top for shipping, keep it clean and tidy and fun. But um, I really like a striking picture. Some people swear by a plain white background. they like to photograph it like it's Lego. I don't know that that's how I roll, and maybe it would do better for me if I did. But
I
I
mean, certainly given the aesthetic of the Goblin Forge page, like to me, it's consistent and it's awesome that I assume this is like your mantelpiece or something.
yeah, that is the mantle directly behind me. That's correct. And
And
then
friend of the pod, Derek's tile set that he gave you.
yes, yes. So that, it gets plenty of use. But yeah, those are some figures that Gordon whipped up. Those are his printed ones, which are in the shop now. But plug. But yeah, so as far as description goes, some people love to write a paragraph or a novel. I kind of just stick to how Matt Doughty of Glios would do it, keep it cut dry, what kind of material you're getting, what you can expect with it. And, as always, if there's questions, you can always reach out and ask. The other thing that I really loved about Big Cartel is they have Klarna built in and they make it easy to accept credit card payments
Okay.
on behalf of you. You don't have to worry about any of that. They'll pay you directly. And it's all through a subsystem called Stripe, which you just link with your bank account. Very simple, very easy. I've heard of some people having some issues. Me personally, I've never experienced any issues, and I've been using Big Cartel about 2.5 years now. So it's been really easy to use.
I did
Um,
say, or I do feel like when I was setting up my shop initially, that was the biggest hurdle to set up was
mhm.
creating a separate Stripe account that then you hook up into the shop. But once you
Right.
do it, you're like good to go.
Yeah, yeah, it's not bad at all. And and then we'll get to the next big hurdle is shipping, right? Because now you have to dispatch the product. I use Pirate Ship as my shipping at home, so I don't take everything to the post office and pay postage that way. I do everything through Pirate Ship. So what will happen is everybody gets the best rate that way. It's affordable, and if you have a thermal printer, which I do, they're very cheap. You can just do it all at home. So I don't have to wait in lines at the post office. I don't have to deal with the general public. I just go in and drop them off, and that's the end of it. It's really nice. So if anyone's getting interested in setting up a shop, we have some listeners, friend of the pod, Lausmer, has been doing some incredible, TPU work who was on last year. He had talked about getting set up to sell. So in the event that's something he'd be interested in, this is a good way, and very brief overview of how to do it. But yeah, but the way Big Cartel will work is you'll be remitted the info for shipping. And what with Pirate Ship, you can just copy the whole thing, Control C that, and then take it in to Pirate Ship, and you can just hit paste total, and it'll propagate everything for you automatically. You don't have to type anything in. All you have to do is enter box dimensions, and it'll give you the best rate between FedEx, UPS, or the post office. 9 times out of 10, the post office is going to be the cheapest. I've never had anybody that needed this priority mail or second day or anything. But, especially if you ship in a reasonable enough timeline, it's not an issue. But, I like to give myself the buffer of 7 days. Typically, it can be dispatched sooner, but, especially if stuff's made to order, I like to have that time frame.
And so
So,
when you are doing a made to order run, will you set the like unit number at say like something not in hopefully not insane like 10 and then
yeah.
as those orders come in you'll start printing trays of parts,
hmm
assemble them, and then once all the orders come in and the product is sold out, you'll just dispatch everything together.
Yeah, well, it depends. In the past, whenever, like, we'll say, here's a good one, like when Blockzor debuted, that was one of my first giant sales through Big Cartel. So the first wave it did fairly well. I sold a good number of them for a guy in his garage. And then I did the second wave, which was real type. It was a olive drab green with an orange eye gem. It was like an homage to the Leo from Mobile Suit, or not Mobile Suit Gundam, good Lord, Gundam Wing. But that went crazy. So it got to the point where I was coming home to change out build trays 3 times a day during work hours. It was so bad. And I couldn't keep up with it. So I eventually had to shut all of the orders off just to catch up. But I do not like to hold stuff longer than I have to.
Mhm.
So if I have 10 that are ordered and I only have 5 done, I'm going to ship those first 5. I pass by a post office on my way to work every morning. I'll I'll just drop it off on the way.
Mhm.
So I don't like to wait. Unfortunately, I don't think I have the commanding power of someone like Matt Doughty, of Glio's fame, who can wait 2 weeks to ship orders, and
I
people will
mean,
be and people are patient with that because that's his volume is so high.
but also he's
But
been doing this for what, more than 10 years?
close to 20 now,
Yeah,
you know.
Jesus. Right.
So he's he has a system for him. I'm too impatient, and honestly, having more than 5 to 10 boxes at a time for me to take to the post office, I personally get nervous because I know
Mhm.
how my post office can be. So I like to just get my 5, get my 10, drop them off, and make sure I get my receipt, so I have tracking numbers as confirmation. But and Big Cartel makes it really easy. They'll email, you can upload the tracking number and make sure it's dispatched as a sent order, and it'll send the email and everything for you. So in my experience, I don't say it hasn't been the easiest to use. I think eBay makes it pretty lizard brain to sell,
Mhm.
but you're competing with such a large volume on eBay that I don't know that it's always the best option.
Also, I mean, for what we're doing, we're trying to make stuff that's at least aesthetically appealing to some people. And eBay is like just a absolute bare bones, like, web
Yeah.
1.0 ugly
And
site.
And I don't think it's an issue if you have the links in the directory for folks, right?
Mhm.
But, my concern is always, what happens if some rando just scoops this up and then it's like, oh, okay, well, I don't know if this is a guy that's actually into my shit or he found this organically. If it's through me and it's through my site, I have a little more control. If it's through eBay, I'm kind of beholden to Big Evil and their corpo idea of what customer service looks like. Not to say I've had any negative experiences with buyers or anything of the sort, but I like to be in control. That's the whole reason I got away from eBay in the first place. But, you know, I think a lot about what Scott Sherry of Barbarian Rage says is everybody should have an email list. Everyone should have their own website. They should have their own domain and have their own thing because none of these companies are looking out for you. So,
I mean, and that to
and
me
that's
sort of
that
plays to how I like to run things, which is like I much prefer the in-person sales
right.
or the, gentleman's agreement through
Yeah,
a claim sale on whatever it be it a Discord, an Instagram, you know, by email, reaching out to us. Like to me, what the online shop gives to you is I want to remove the barrier for someone who's interested in my work. Like
exactly.
if you're like my stuff enough to give me money, like I want to make that relatively easy for you. And so that's what sort of the work that maintaining an online shop does.
Yeah. And it's also, in a fun way, like if anyone is not just listening to the audio and they're checking out the video of this, like it's fun to put in a really sick dungeon digital
Oh,
background.
totally.
It's fun to do all these 80s power metal color splashes for like the font. Like
Mhm.
it's fun to do your own thing. I don't have a history in coding or anything like that. I'm not writing my own pages. I'm not writing my own script. But in a lot of ways, playing with Big Cartel feels a lot like playing with MySpace back in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
It
totally.
feels very similar to that. So it's just been like another fun way to mess with stuff. But eventually I would like to do more than just having be a merchandise, you know, hawking website. I want to
Mhm.
have some more fun stuff on there, but all these things take time. I can either work on figures and other projects, or I can play on my internet website. So which one do you want?
Well, and I think that, going forward with the joint space of like the Goblin Toy Forge, I think it would be nice to have like an accompanying blog like a lot of the other glass
Yeah,
makers do. And, we could
exactly.
have some written forms of some of the stuff that we talk about,
Yeah, or like just
techniques
like
or
links to the show.
right.
You can check that out. I do want to get an email list going. I think that'd be really cool. I like getting emails from people I want to hear.
Mhm.
Like I hate when I just get another one from like Walmart or like I get a fucking email from Chipotle to tell me that $7 case is back on special. Like the slot bowl's only $11 today. Come get
Mhm.
it. I like getting emails from creators. It's like Barbarian Rage. He has a great newsletter, fantastic. Or like some of the guys that are in like the independent Game Boy scene that I'm into. Like I get some great ones from them or like just chiptune stuff or Bandcamp has some great email letters for recommendations. I like that stuff. I don't anything to make this not more corpo goonery. I'm really happy about.
Well, and I think that, I listen to other creators. I listen to a podcast that's done by some people who are in the tabletop gaming scene, and they've
Yeah.
all started having blogs now, and they're doing the YouTube piece because sort of, Jesse DeStasio mentioned it when he was on the general collapse of the social media like ecosystem, and like these spaces no longer serve people who want to make creative stuff, and you kind of
No.
spread that out to an audience. So
Right.
it's actually come to the point where reverting to these older methods of getting information out to people who are interested is like the better way to go. So just have a plain ass website,
Hmm.
use email mailing lists, post videos on YouTube that you link to from your website and your email mailing list, is sort of, I think, where a lot of creatives probably will be headed, since, trying to fight the algorithm is a losing battle.
Right. And I have tried a little bit of AI to work better in my favor to put my stuff out there. Like just you can just run like you can just talk to the droid and it'll ask you what like the best way to put hashtags. Hashtags don't even work anymore on Instagram. I don't even know how I'm supposed to get my stuff out to people other than linking it to an OnlyFans and some girl bouncing around. I mean, it's abysmal. I mean, I think about I sound like such a terrible, cranky boomer old man tonight, and I'm sorry, folks, but
Well, but the reason we do this is like this is our hobby, not our
right,
job, and like we're doing this for
exactly.
fun. And so finding these avenues of, making stuff, communicating it out to people who are interested, that like are enjoyable to do, like
Yeah,
that's the whole point in the first place. It's not making this into, a miserable experience to serve some corporate overlord. Like
yeah,
that's what we do when we're
yeah,
on the clock.
yeah. Believe me, I'm not making a big cartel page or selling our little 3D printed figures to increase shareholder value. I'm just trying to cover material costs so we can make more cool shit. Um, but yeah, You know, on the topic of the collapse of media as it is, I think about, I mean, even few summers back when you and I got to know each other at Toy Pizza Expo, Instagram then didn't feel as bad as it does now.
Oh
You
no,
know,
it feels like it's hyper accelerated within the past year or so. And part of
yeah,
that is it's the combination of like all the real shit that's going on in the world, plus the AI slop,
yeah,
plus the like constant rejiggering of the app itself. And so it's been nice to have these spaces like plain old YouTube where, I still have to fight beyond the main page now because it no longer serves me up the things that I actually subscribe to. I have to know to go
right.
looking for it. But if I just use the web like I used to 10 years ago and actually visit a website, like that's still there and I can find stuff. And
Yeah.
we're old enough to remember like how to type in a URL address or
Oh, brother,
actually use Google.
T take me back to whenever I would get on my little Bionicle disc and I would have to click now to leave the CD-ROM and enter the internet. Like
Yeah.
that, take me back to that, where it's the instant gratification truly was the bane of the internet, I think.
Well, it's the kind of losing the ability to do it for yourself. I mean, we're the
Yeah,
DIY toy cast, and so
right.
that's the entire point of like a lot of what we do is part of the pleasure is kind of the process of doing anything like this. And so
Absolutely.
like the fun of a lore dive is like all the weird nooks of the internet that you have to dig through to kind of piece stuff together. Or like I remember uh early days of like going on to Angel Fire websites to look at like grainy photographs of prototypes of Japanese toys that I had
Hmm.
seen like some mention of in a Toy Fair magazine,
Oh yeah.
rather than just like, scrolling through your Instagram feed of, whatever companies that you follow, and it's the latest product announcement for, and then link to a pre-order on Amazon or whatever.
Right. Yeah. I think back to, you got a few years on me, but I think back to like being a kid in, mid early 2000s and at the height of what I think was really the end of Lego's like peak era, when it was not IP inundation.
Mhm.
But you had like Saber Scorpion's Lair, like what an insane website. The guy had the most wild custom Legos I'd ever seen. And he was printing like custom Lego stickers to make the minifigures like custom outfits and like a Samus Aran suit, like
Mhm.
just the craziest stuff. And it was like gun to my head, I have no idea how I even discovered that. But that's just one of those magical things where it was like, we're just surfing the net, baby.
Mhm.
It's not
Well,
it's not like it is now.
and to
Which but
me,
but I like that we're getting back to that. I like the sense of
yeah.
exploration again, which definitely does coincide with the DIY nature of what we're doing, where, I don't know how to make a website. I'm figuring it out. It's fun.
Hmm. And to me, the that true sense of discovery now for me happens more in the physical realm. Like I go to a show and like some artists stuff that they have set up at a table catches my eye. And so then I go, to their Instagram page or website or whatever and sort of read up after the fact. But the sense of the discovery isn't so much just like, stumbling around on the internet anymore.
Right.
It's uh I go to a show and see someone's cool piece. I'm lucky enough to have a vintage toy shop near me. HasBeen Toys, friend of the pod.
Oh yeah.
And so look, I go and hang out there. And that's what like I love digging through bins of loose figures, because you find some weird accessory to what you think might be some Playmates figures. Could be a Ninja Turtles, or it could be like some th Thundercats or Masters of the Universe thing. And to me, it's more exciting to not know and then have to kind of like try to piece it together rather than everything is sort of laid out and you know already pre-digested for you.
Yeah, I think that kind of speaks to this is definitely a bit of a long shot theory, but it really feels like that's like the last vestiges of what scavenging feels like in the modern age for mankind. But it's linked to like end stage consumerism, so you're just rapidly searching through bins trying to find what could this be. But I love that too. I love that as much as the next guy. I don't have a lot of toy shops here. Most of it is just generic retail, but a lot of it is like these weird thrift stores that'll just have the most bizarre toys you've never heard of or never seen. Or if like you get like the weird bootleg stuff, that's not anything
Yes.
good like Chat May or like
Oh
Leonard. I
no,
mean
no, like
no, it's like
below
some
Remco, like
oh, it's the worst. It is like some weird soft plastic that looks like a Power Ranger or looks like, the American Kamen Rider from the 90s, but it's not. And like if you flick it too hard, the plastic might shatter. Why is this here? How did this get here? Where did this come from? I think that stuff, finding that in the wild is like a unicorn animal. But
yeah.
yeah.
No, I mean, there's still pockets of that out there. And I think, seeking that out and kind of actively engaging with that is it's a way of pushing back against the general state of things.
Oh,
And so,
absolutely. Absolutely. All this being said, I did just order the new 2026 Hasbro 4.5 steroid Darth Vader from their kids line. So don't listen to me. Don't take none of this is real. I'm still a goon like the rest of the people that is buying Star Wars slop in the new era. But Come on, he's shredded. I have to have it.
Well, but except that links back to,
My love of
your
Power of the Force.
yeah, Power of the Force era Star Wars stuff. And so, a upcoming release that I'm hoping to eventually find is those weird knockoff Mutant Mayhem Ninja Turtle figures, the karate tortoises or whatever, that are based
Oh,
off the new animated short,
oh yes, Nardo, the hero. Yeah,
right?
I don't know any of their other names, but I'm sure they're absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's Marc for Michelangelo, Nardo for
Leo.
Donnie, Ralph for Raphael, and oh no, so Nardo is Leonardo. Oh, wait, and then Danny instead of
Da
Donnie.
oh, oh yes, Danny with the glasses, of course. How could I forget my favorite tortoise, Danny? Yeah, those rule. I actually can't believe this even exists.
Yeah, I follow.
And RIP to Playmates, they're losing that line, which is
Well,
fucking abysmal.
end of this year, right?
That's what they're saying. You know, I'm that can change. I don't really, I'll believe it happens when I see it. I don't really
Hmm.
put a lot of stock in that gossip. I think it's fun to discuss and talk about. I hope Spin Master or somebody picks it up. I want that to be fun because I want someone that's going to do fun stuff like that. I don't want them to turn into Marvel Legends for $25 to $30. I don't want. We already have that.
I mean, we do already have that. That's the NECA figures.
Exactly. That's why, or like McFarlane has, they just put out their page punchers, and then there's what's the other one? Loyal Subjects that makes the $20 ones. Like,
Or didn't Haya Toys do some turtles
and
as
hot,
well?
yeah. I mean, they're already licensed to death. I mean, I wonder who they would pick up, but I don't because there's supposed to be Mutant Mayhem 2, which I think these will have product from. I don't know if that's true. Maybe the sale of this is for Mutant Mayhem 2's concern. I don't know. But there's been talk that Viacom wants to do another live action turtle movie, which I don't know who wants that. I'd see it, but I don't think you're going to do better than Secret of the Use with Super Shredder, right?
No, I mean nothing's gonna beat those like insane rubber suits with the like animatronic heads on them. But
Yeah, I mean,
bygone era.
listen, unless they get Vanilla Ice back, I don't care. I'm not interested. You can't buy me. I don't, as always, I think the toys are always more interesting than the film. That's usually
Hard to
my
agree.
synopsis. That's usually my synopsis, much like Toys and tomfoolery, friend of the pod likes to believe. Um, what else? What else? So what else we got going on for 2026, Gordon? Did we cover everything for the internet age of shopping?
I think that hit most of what I wanted to get into on this episode for shopping. We talked mostly about the online space, but I will say that like for me, setting up at Toy Pizza Con and the 413 Indie Toy Show here, like those sales are always so much more rewarding because you get to see who you're
Oh,
selling to. And
for
like,
sure.
that anecdote of you selling the Orbix to that kid and his dad, like that's what it's about, is
Yeah,
like,
like the kid comes in, he's like, "How much is this?" I'm like, $30. He's like, "That's how much I have. Perfect." And I was like, "You got this whole show. You can go see all these insane like factory produced kaiju. There's plenty of other stuff here." And he was like, "Nope, I want exactly that." I was like,
mhm.
"All right." I mean, that was worth the drive up to Mass.
Yeah, and so I think it's nice to have both if you're a maker of being able to make it available to people online if they can't make it to a show and are your buddies like, Derek or
Or Brandon.
or Brandon, yeah, or anyone who's sort of like, not in the immediate area when we're doing a show, they can still pick something up
Right.
from us after they see our photos from the event. But it's always best. It always feels the best to be able to like hand the thing to the person right there. Um, so yeah, definitely if you can make it to Toy Pizza Con this or Toy Pizza Expo, I guess it is
The
now
the Toy and Pizza Conference
the Toy Pizza
located,
Conference.
yeah,
Yeah.
we will be discussing slices and toys. That will be at the Yard. on June 13th, 2026, in the year of our Lord. Pretty pumped for that. I'll be there, uh, and hopefully we'll be showing off some of that new stuff. So we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see.
More to
You want
come
to
on
you
this.
yeah, more to come. But
Uh,
that'll be fun. Uh, very excited for what that looks like.
yeah, and I'm excited to see what conversations we can have sort of on the podcast leading up to that. This has been, to me, part of doing this. The DIY Toycast is sort of a bridge between the cons of, we get to see each other in person at these cons, but then it's nice to be able to continue to have some of these conversations in the interim and share them out with other people.
Yeah, for and also on that note, if anybody does have questions or concerns about setting up or big cartel, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to, give you whatever help I can on it. By no means am I an expert. This isn't sponsored by them. That I don't I'm paying them, they're not paying me. But, I do think it's a good platform, especially if you're getting started. And, if you just have a couple things to list, the free option, fantastic. Check it out. If you're just getting started, it doesn't hurt to set it up. It doesn't cost anything, you know.
Yeah,
So
I can
feel
attest.
free.
I set it up. I just
But
never
yeah,
fully implemented it.
yeah, I mean you're 99% there. You just really needed to hit play.
Mhm. All right. Well, then let's maybe call it an episode. I guess, Brett, you want to do plugs for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on the internet at Instagram for now at Aegis_station. And then, of course, you can find us at Goblin Toy Forge on Instagram and goblintoyforge.com, which is hosted by Big Cartel. We just restocked it with a bunch of Gordon's fantastic new figures from the end of last year. So you got some goblins, you have the new barbarian, some of the bird knights. There is the last of the 1/12 scale cursed armors there. That
Hmm.
is the Vampire Lord and the Sun Armor configuration. I think there's an Ooze Clops left.
Yeah,
There's all
let's see what
kinds
do
of
we
stuff.
got here. So we got the
There's Veilgas stickers too.
Oh yeah, Art by Wood. They're
Yeah,
super good. I have
yeah,
one on my car, so you should
yeah.
definitely pick one up. And
Oh,
if
hell
you're
yeah.
grabbing something else from the
Yeah.
shop, um,
There's a few cursed armors left too from the last print run.
yeah.
But yeah, don't sleep on those. Those are good. I don't know how much more that cursed armor is going to be run. That's more of a conversation for Gordon. But if anyone's interested in Veilgast, I have the Purple Void coming this month, so keep an eye out for that. And that's it. It's enough plugs. It's enough corporate shilling. Gordon, where can people find you?
You can find me here on YouTube, doing the DIY Toycast episodes, and then you can find me on Instagram at Vladimir the Badimir. And so until next time, thanks for watching and catch you later.
Bye.